We were just a normal family from Georgia. Simple folks living a simple life. We had our routines, our little joys, and our share of struggles, just like anyone else. My wife Sarah is the sweetest woman you'd ever meet. Always baking something good. Her pies were famous in our town, and her smile could light up the darkest room. My boy, little Sam, just turned 2. He's got this infectious laugh that makes everyone around him smile. Full of energy, that one. Always running around, exploring every nook and cranny. And me? Name's Jesse. I worked construction down in Atlanta. Hard work, but it put food on the table and kept a roof over our heads. Always been handy, always prepared. Fixing things around the house, making sure everything was in order. That's just how my daddy raised me. He taught me the value of hard work and self-reliance. Didn't figure those skills would be life-saving one day. But life has a way of surprising you. But the world, it had different plans. Dark clouds started gathering, and the news began to change. News started talking about wars and bombs. Crazy talk, I thought. It seemed so far away, like it couldn't touch us. But Sarah, she got scared. She felt it in her bones that something bad was coming. I knew then I had to protect them, no matter what. My family was my world, and I wasn't going to let anything tear us apart. It seemed like the whole world had gone crazy. Folks were buying up everything they could get their hands on. The stores were empty, shelves stripped bare of essentials. People were panicked, rushing through the aisles, grabbing whatever they could find. It was chaos, pure and simple. I had never seen anything like it before. The fear in their eyes was palpable, and it made me realize just how serious things had become. I managed to get my hands on some supplies, though. It wasn't easy, but I was determined. I grabbed whatever I could find that might be useful. Food, water, medical supplies, anything that could help us get through the tough times ahead. I knew we had to be prepared for anything. Canned goods, water, medical stuff. I laid it all out on the table, taking stock of what we had. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Every little bit counted. I knew we had to ration everything carefully, make it last as long as possible. Most important, I got me some guns, rifles, shotguns, pistols. I knew that in times like these, protection was crucial. It wasn't just about having food and water, it was about being able to defend ourselves if it came to that. Learn to use them from my daddy. He always said, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Those words stuck with me. We spent hours at the range, practicing, making sure we knew how to handle ourselves. Never thought I'd have to point one at another human being. The thought of it made my stomach turn. But these were desperate times, and desperate measures were sometimes necessary. I hoped it would never come to that, but I had to be ready. But these were crazy times. The streets were empty, filled with an eerie silence. People were scared, running in fear. The newspapers were filled with headlines about chaos and uncertainty. It felt like the world was falling apart. Sarah, she didn't like it. All the guns said it wasn't right. She was worried, and I understood. It wasn't the life we had imagined for ourselves, but I told her, it ain't about right or wrong anymore, darling. It's about surviving. She cried. I held her tight. We were scared. The uncertainty of it all weighed heavily on us, but we knew we had to stay strong for each other. We had to face whatever came our way, together. But we were in it together. No matter what happened, we had each other. And that gave us the strength to keep going, to keep fighting. We were determined to survive, no matter what it took. It was hot. The kind of heat that makes the air shimmer and the ground crack. July in Georgia always is. The sun beat down mercilessly, making the day feel endless. Sam was playing in the yard, his laughter echoing through the still air. He didn't have a care in the world. Sarah was humming in the kitchen, her favorite tune. The smell of fresh bread filled the house. Then the sirens went off. Loud, ear-splitting sirens. They pierced the calm, turning our world upside down. We knew this was it. The ground shook violently. The house rattled as if it might collapse. Dust filled the air, making it hard to breathe. I grabbed Sarah and Sam, pulled them down into the basement. Our hearts pounded as we stumbled down the stairs. We huddled together in the dark, praying the bombs wouldn't find us. Hours we sat there, the only sound our own breathing, and the distant rumble of destruction. The air grew thick and stale. We could barely see each other in the dim light. Finally the shaking stopped. Silence fell. But it was a heavy, ominous silence. We emerged from the basement, our legs shaky, our minds numb. We were afraid of what we might find. The world outside, it was gone. Everything we knew, Everything we loved, reduced to rubble and ash. The landscape was unrecognizable, a haunting reminder of what had been. The days that followed were a blur. Smoke filled the sky, people were desperate. Looters roamed the streets, taking what they could. I stood guard, my rifle at the ready. Wouldn't let anyone hurt my family. Not while I was breathing. One day, soldiers came through our town. Didn't know who they were, didn't speak our language. They pointed their guns, demanded food and water. I gave them what we could spare. They moved on. We were lucky, for now. We survived week by week, scavenging for food, collecting rainwater. It was a hard life, a dangerous life. But we had each other, and that's what mattered. Sometimes at night, looking up at the stars, I'd wonder if there were any other families out there. Families just like ours, fighting to survive. I held on to that thought. Held on to hope. Because in a world gone mad, hope was the only thing we had left. Stay safe out there. Visit BespokeArchery.com and customize your own survival kits.